It really doesn't feel like it, but we are a full week into free agency in the NFL 2025 season. We've seen a lot of teams give out a lot of money, and one of those teams that I think is at the forefront of leaders of free agency so far in terms of teams who have gotten better are the New England Patriots. New England got probably the best interior defensive player in the NFL free agency in Milton Williams. They got probably the best cornerback in free agency in Carlton Davis. They got some guys who I think can play really well in the system and scheme that Mike Vrabel wants to run, like Harold Landry, a guy who played under Mike Vrabel for a long time in Tennessee. And then you got some other outside pieces. You got guys like Jalen Hawkins, guys like Marcus Epps, Mac Hollins, Morgan Moses, Robert Spillane. You got a lot of guys added to this team where you still also have a long way to go in free agency, and you still have the NFL draft in a little over a month. The one thing at this point that I think you really want to see New England do is try to get that next receiver. I was a little bit surprised that New England didn't try to go after somebody like a Nick Westbrook-Akine, somebody who wasn't going to cost a lot of money, but provided a big target and someone, especially in the red zone. Nick Westbrook-Akine had 9 touchdowns last year on a terrible Tennessee offense. I guess they got somebody who fits that mold in Mac Hollins. I just think Westbrook-Akine is a much better player than Mac Hollins is. I also think at this point there's been nothing to the tight end position added by the New England Patriots, but that's not really their fault. I mean, the tight end position in free agency this year is one of the worst in the entire class of positions this year. So the fact that they haven't added anybody, I think that's fine. If you're waiting until the draft this year, I think that's the best idea. If it's overdrafting, probably with either Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland especially. Although Tyler Warren at number 4 would probably be a really good pick, especially at this point. You know, they've afforded themselves some flexibility. They got themselves some guys on the interior of the defensive line. They've got a guy at the linebacker position, and they got another guy at corner. Those are really the positions when you looked at New England and you said, you know, you add to the secondary and the pass rush, or you add probably to the offensive line. And so to me, it's like, you know, you draft a young player that's going to be in front of Drake May for the rest of his football career, whether it's blocking for him or whether it's running routes for him. But I mean, other than that, you look at everything that the New England Patriots have. I mean, they have a mentor quarterback for both Drake May and Joe Milton. They have a decent enough wide receiver group where you want to add somebody, but, you know, you got to take what you can get at the same time. You can't force anything. Tight end, you don't have much, but offensive line, I mean, you have some guys that can play. Defensively is where you start to get a little bit more excited. You got guys like Christian Barmore if he can stay healthy this year. And obviously it's not a typical stay healthy situation with Christian Barmore, so it's nothing that you want to push. But, you know, if he can stay healthy and he can stay on the football field, you have Barmore, you have Milton Williams. You hope Keon White in his 3rd year takes that next step. You hope that in the secondary, you know, Christian Gonzalez continues his ascendance. You hope that Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers and Carlton Davis and Marcus Jones and like all of these guys that we're going to be relying on. If I'm a New England Patriots fan, I'm looking at all these guys in the secondary, especially with Mike Vrabel coaching this team. I'm looking at that group as the team that needs to lead, or the group that needs to lead this team into possibly succeeding and winning 8 or 9 games this year. I mean, this still is not a team that you can look at and pencil in for an AFC East title. You can't even pencil them in for an AFC wildcard spot. But I think 7 or 8 wins at this point with this team that they have now, with this coaching staff that they have, that should be nothing but attainable. Ultimately, I don't think the New England Patriots have had the best free agency period. I think there's a few teams that have the edge on New England in terms of adding more talent and adding at more pressing needs than New England has done. But New England has still done a very good job. There's no reason that they cannot take what they've done so far and parlay that into a great draft, a great rest of this free agency, and hopefully turn this into the second era of their dynasty type success.